my past caught up to me because when it was a weekend they were leaving. I went to go play dodgeball. I was big into dodgeball back then. 2-time champion, by the way, just so everyone knows. I'm serious. And I'm leaving that evening, and the dodgeball was in West Hollywood. And as I'm leaving, some friends wanted to go to the bar. And I was like, there's a friend from high school who was like, she was around, and I was going to go meet her. I was like, either I can Uber home or I can Uber to Santa Monica and go hang out. And so I'm looking at my phone, and the sheriffs kind of pull up. Looking at my phone, he go, hey, what's up, man? I'm having a backpack. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, nothing. He's like, yeah, you mind if we check your ID? I'm like, I'm thinking it's not a big deal.
Now, where are you in an Uber at this point?
No. I'm standing on the street, just like looking to decide what am I gonna do
with you. Yep,
right.
Yep,
I'm trying to go. Do I go to the bar with these guys? Do I go to Santa Monica or do I Uber home? Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at my phone, and the sheriffs pull up, and I say, and they ask me, hey, what's going on? I'm like, oh, nothing. Just got done playing dodgeball. They're like, you mind if we check your ID? I'm like, I got nothing to hide. It's not a big deal. So I hand my ID, and unbeknownst to me, so I got my third DUI was in 2008. I got the first two like back to back in college, and then had space then. And in 2008 I got it, and I thought I had done everything that I was supposed to do for the program what the courts have you do. I missed finishing, I think it was 2 programs, like the MAD program, which is like Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, and one other. And the sheriff goes, oh, man. I'm like, what's up? He's like, sorry to do this to you, man. There's like a $50,000 warrant out for your arrest. I'm like, what? At this point, I've been traveling. I've been flying. And I'm under the assumption if there's a warrant this big, if I go to the airport, they're going to be like,
come with us.
Exactly. Nothing. So I'm really confused. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, sorry, man, we're going to have to. It's like, we would let you go if it wasn't so much money. I'm like, I'm just shocked. Mind you, this is 2014 now, right? And I'm like, okay. So they put me in jail that night. I had to go to, the next morning, had to go to what's called the Twin Towers in LA for processing and to be in jail until I'm going to the court. No, I went to court the next morning, and they were going to put me in jail that evening, but you had to go to the Twin Towers. And this was like, man, like I'll never forget in my first year out in 2004, one kid that I was working with randomly turned to me and goes, don't ever go to jail because you don't want to be in the towers, man. It's the worst. I was like, whoa. He goes, but if you ever go, tell them you're gay. I was like, what? Yeah, to put you in. I was like, okay. So now I'm in this situation. And mind you, they have people packed in when they first get you in there. You're packed in, and it's like at an amusement park, or you're going in line to a TSA where they have a line on the floor, red line on the floor, right? And then they have, I would say, either blue or greenish tape outside of it, but you have to follow in that track. So people are walking like this, but it's not split up by anything except for the tape on the ground.
There's
so
no
people
ropes or barriers.
Nothing. And so, I mean, there's a bunch of people just going through. Never forget, there was this one kid, black kid, turned to another black kid who was like 3 rows back, goes, what set you from, homie? I'm this. Oh, yeah, I'll see you inside. And I'm like, we're not even processed yet. I'm just like, what is going on? So we go through, and they're like, take your clothes off. You're going to wear this for this. And now I'm putting on a jumpsuit. And we go to do the phones, or this is the point where you talk to like a guard or something about like who you are and do you have any medical stuff, and because they're required to, if you have any type of medical stuff, you're required to get it at in prison, in jail. And so then they're like, are you gay or are you straight?
Yes.
Yeah. Seriously.
First of all, why did he say you should say you're gay?
He's like, because they separate you, so you're not with the real crazies.
Why would they do that?
Because something that LA and California was doing. I mean, this was few times that woke actually made sense.
But I'm just trying to understand the logic of it.
Because they didn't want the gay guys to get harassed and beat up inside with the straight men who were like more dangerous physically.
Fair enough.
And so I remember you were like, are you gay or are you gay? I was like, just basically literally what you did. I go, it all came back instantaneously. I go, yep.
You're like, I'm gay, and as you say it, you're thinking, I hope that guy didn't steer me wrong.
Yeah, no, right? I'm like, because I just saw these 2 guys go, I'll wait to see you get in there. I'm like, that's the normal jail? No, I'm not doing that. And so
I'm going to gay jail.
Yeah, I'm going to gay jail.
Gale.
I'm going to Gale. So we go in. They gave me like a different color wristband,
Pink.
and I think it was if it wasn't straight pink, it was definitely like a lighter red, right? And so there's a section where it's like the big monitoring section where you go in to get health checked and everything. People are kind of waiting, and then you can see outside of that the little the holding cells where they had like 14, 15 men just in these little cubicles, and I'm like, man. I mean, these are like dudes who are hardened criminals in this space. And I'm looking around. One guy was so bad, he was going around there holding him. He's like, he's spitting and everything. And they had to put like, I don't know if you ever seen 13 Ghosts, but they had like a Saw. They had put a metal box over his head that it could open up, but he couldn't bite at them. And he's sitting there locked into the seat that he's in. And I'm just looking over like, wow, this is something else.
Now, at this point, sorry, are you only going to prison for a night? Jail for a night?
I'm going to jail. At this point, I don't know how long it's going to put in. They had said, because I went to court, it said 2 weeks.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So they put you in jail for a night, and then
I went to court, and then they were like,
okay,
the court was like, all right, 2 weeks,
yep.
right? And you're like, and then most of the people were like, look, you could probably get out in a day or two because everything's already packed. They usually let the nonviolent ones go, and they give you like, public service, you got to go do that, all that stuff. And so I'm sitting in there, and then they saw my wrist, and then they put me in one of the holding cells with the other people who were gay or whatever. There was like 6 people in there.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah. The other one was packed, and then this one was like 6 people. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, well, that didn't suck. I had my own space. No one's messing with anyone. And it's not comfortable to really sleep there, but you try to get as much sleep as you can.
Yeah.
Then
did you have beds?
No, at this point we just had metal benches that were around the space, and then the floor, which is all concrete, and then your jacket, or your one part of your shirt, so you can kind of roll that up. And by California law, they have 24 hours to get you a bed, so they'll wait 23 and a half hours to get you a bed. So we were getting. At one point for like 6 hours, we're in that one space. Then we move over for another 6 hours, whatever, just to be in another space. Then they get you into they finally get you a bunk bed, but this was a temporary spot before they assign you directly into a cell block. Now this is the part that's really it's all crazy, but this is the part that's really wild. So then what they were doing with the new guys that came in that said they were gay, they had one of the sheriffs come and ask you questions to prove that if you were gay or not. And there was a list of like 10 to 12 questions, dude.
What kind of questions were they?
For example, what magazines do you read?
Okay.
What bars do you go to?
Playgirl.
Yeah. I was like, does that work? And they're like, what bars do you go to?
Gay ones.
West Hollywood, period. No. And here's the thing, because again, some of my best friends are gay, so I knew the stuff. I knew that the answers, right? So I could fill it in.
That's funny. So word had apparently got out such that they now had to interview you to see if you were really gay.
I guess so. Well, because one of the guys too was like, yeah, I'd like to get in the gay one because the straight one is just violent. And so I've tried to get in before, but they didn't accept me. So I'm trying it again. This is what this one guy was telling me. I was like, oh, they actually test you? I was kind of wild. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So they're going through, and then my acting skills came in.
Hold up a picture of Brad Pitt. And
he's so hot.
Retinas.
I'm like, Love him. High level, like everything. Young Brad too, not old Brad. But so he's asking me this question. I remember sitting there as he's asking me, I'm like, this is a violation of civil rights here. Like, you're not, how are you going to test somebody, right? And it was funny too, because like he asked a question, because one of the questions was like, did you come out? How did you come out, and who'd you come out to? So I was like, damn it. I had to kind of think. I came up with a story. I was like, I told my prom date, and she was really sweet, one of my best friends, and it was just such a beautiful moment. Like, I said this whole story, and then they put me in the gay cell. So I was like, or the gay cell block. So I'm like, all right, it can be a movie on its own.
I know it. A lot of it sounds bad and traumatic. Yeah. It also could be an amazing comedy.
Oh, it's an amazing comedy, because once I got in there, it was like a whole different world.
People were drinking tea.
There was
carpet.
It was a gay prison Wizard of Oz. right? So there was
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
I'm going to break it down. So there's bunk beds and there's sections. I haven't talked about this. This was 2013. I haven't talked about this in a while, 13, 14. And so we get in there, and of course I'm fresh meat. I'm new, so everyone's looking. But it's not the other cell blocks where they're just going to take it. They try to woo you. Oh, hey, what's going? Do you need anything? If you need any extra soap, let me know. I'm like,
thank you.
I'm like, oh no, I'm good, thanks. And then and then I remember seeing a big garbage can, like a huge plastic one, where one of the transvestites who just had female breasts or breast implants was taking a bath in there so he could like kind of hide and come up and I'm just like, okay, there's that. Toilets are wide open, showers are wide open. I'm like, okay, well, wow, here we are. And so there are different areas and sections, and I go to my bunk area, and then there's this white guy. I don't know if he came up to me or whatever, but he was white guy, kind of your build actually, but bald head, and he had a super long white, like you could tell it was for a fat guy's undershirt, but it was super long on him down to like below his knees, right? And his name was Casper. That's what they call him, Casper. And so he was giving us the tour of this place. And he's like, oh, over there is so-and-so over there. And he's like, come on, I'll take you over here. Like he was just like the friendliest, nicest guy going around. Then he introduced me to his guy, who was this like 6'3" black dude, brother, who looked like Ving Rhames. It wasn't friendly. He's like, oh, this is my guy. Oh man, I wish I could remember his name. Like
Giggles.
Giggles. Let's say Giggles. And he's like, what's up? How you doing? I'm like, hey man, nice to meet you. Like I'm not trying to get your guy. Don't worry about that. And it was just a very interesting space that thank God I didn't have to stay in there for more than that evening really. But everyone, because I can tell being in Hollywood for as long as I can tell when someone likes you because they like you, or they're trying to get you. Because fortunately, like I said earlier, Hollywood is a flesh industry, and a lot of men have tried to offer me things in Hollywood for my career. So and in college, I was around a lot of gay guys. They saw when their attempts. So I knew when people were being nice in this situation.
Can you break that open for me? What do you mean for my career?
Oh, hey, come to this premiere party with me, and I'll introduce you to a lot of important people. But I knew if I went with this one guy, everyone would go, that's his new arm candy. So it wouldn't be just two friends going to someone. It'd be like, here's his new guy.
I gotcha.
One guy said, oh, I'm going to have you kissing me before the night's over. One of the first things I saw was a guy, one of my good friends from college. He got me a job catering, and we first saw all these stars like Nicole Kidman and John Stamos, all this. And he's bartending on bar backing. Satellite bar, and this tall guy, British cat, he comes forward and he's like, let me ask you, my friend's like tall, kind of like a Brad Pitt looking guy. He's like, are you gay or straight? And my friend's like, I'm gay, I'm sorry. He goes, you're about as, or he goes, I'm straight, sorry. He goes, you're about as straight as a pretzel. And I'm standing there watching, like, cleaning the glassware, being like, what's Kurt gonna do? Like, what's going on? And the guy walks behind the bar and puts his arm around him with a big bear hug, like, and like kind of like he turns his head towards it like this way. So I see him, and he's like giving like a very, and Kurt's like, yo, bro, I'm sorry, get off me. And I'm just like, whoa, what's going on? I mean, I've had well-known individuals ask, like, one guy asked me that he wanted me, but I'm like, what? I met you with your girlfriend. What are you talking about? He goes, oh yeah. He's like, well, we can do a whole thing. He basically wanted me to hook up with that whole thing. And it was like, so his name was he went by P something. I can't remember his last name. No, it kind of sucks because it was a famous comic book guy, and I'm big into comic books, so I was like, oh man. I'm like, I knew it was weird when he signed his comic book and put his phone number on it. And I'm like, why would you ruin it with your phone number? Just your signature, brother. But I'm in this jail situation. Everyone was super nice because I think they were kind of trying to position themselves for something. But that night when I was asleep, somebody woke me up. Hey, Siaka, they're calling you. I'm like, what's up? And so the guards came and called me, got me out, and were going to offer me a work release. So I can do community service instead of doing 2 weeks in jail. But the time that I was in jail, like no one could find me in the system because I wasn't technically processed in that 24-hour space yet. So, excuse me, my best friend who I called, he was looking for me, couldn't find me. He called like his high-powered lawyer he knew. Like no one could find me in the first 24 hours because I wasn't in court anymore, but I technically wasn't fully processed yet in the cell block. But so the courts were like, hey, okay, you're gonna do community service. Got out, but that weekend was the last weekend that my friends Lars and Icky, the Scandinavian elves, they were actually getting in the car that Saturday to drive over to drive across country back to New York, and then they're going to fly back home. So I missed saying goodbye to them. It was, oh man, it broke my heart. And lucky enough, I had another good roommate looking after my dog. And it was just really wild. And I was able to get out, get back home, and everyone told me what happened and what was going on and whatnot, and I was able to contact them and say, hey, I'm okay, because no one knew what had happened.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like and subscribe.